Have you ever knelt to pray and felt your eyelids grow heavy, your spirit drifting, and suddenly the sacred moment you longed for slips through your fingers like smoke? You tell yourself it's just exhaustion. You blame the day, the time, the silence. But what if I told you it's not coincidence? What if behind that weight pulling you into sleep lies a war, ancient, invisible, and personal? This video will change the way you see your fatigue, and it will awaken something in you that hell itself fears you'll discover. If you believe there's more to this life, if you've ever felt that your prayers matter even when whispered through weariness, then this is for you. I need you to hit subscribe right now and activate notifications, because what you're about to receive is not just a story, it's a call to arms, and I promise you, by the end, you won't see your spiritual struggle the same way again. You don't notice it at first. It starts with a whisper, a yawn, a blink that lingers too long. You think it's harmless, normal, but then it happens again. The moment you set aside to pray, to connect with God, your body betrays you. Your head drops, your thoughts dissolve, and when you open your eyes, time has slipped through your hands like sand. You tell yourself you'll try again tomorrow, but tomorrow brings the same heaviness. It doesn't feel like a battle, but it is. It's a war cloaked in stillness, fought not with swords, but with silence and surrender. And most never even realize they've already lost. There was a young man once, a shepherd in quiet hills, whose name was Eleazar. He wasn't extraordinary, not by title or strength. He herded sheep and prayed under the stars, like his fathers before him. But something tormented him in the shadows of night. Every time he knelt to speak with God, an invisible fog overtook him. He wanted to cry out but couldn't. He wanted to stay awake but didn't. And with every failed attempt to commune with the divine, shame took deeper root in his chest. He began to wonder if God had already turned his face away. Maybe he wasn't chosen after all. But what if the weight he felt wasn't abandonment, but evidence? What if the resistance was not proof of weakness, but confirmation of significance? You see, the enemy doesn't attack what isn't a threat. He doesn't suffocate what doesn't carry power. And Eleazar, in his exhaustion, was carrying something the darkness feared, a calling forged in intimacy with God. That's why it began, not with a blow, but with a yawn, not with fire, but with sleep. The enemy didn't need to destroy him. He only needed to keep him distracted, drowsy, disconnected from his source. One day, desperate and hollowed out by months of silent failure, Eleazar heard whispers of a man named Admael, a sage, a warrior of the unseen. They said he lived in the mountains, far from the noise, closer to God. Eleazar packed his cloak and climbed through storms in silence. When he arrived, he found Admael not preaching, not singing, but still, silent, praying with a presence that made the wind hush. Hours passed, and when the old man finally opened his eyes, he looked at Eleazar and said only this: "You are not weak, you are a target." Eleazar froze. The old man had seen straight into his wounds. "The enemy," Admael whispered, "knows the power born in the secret place. That's why he attacks the silence. That's why he sends sleep, not storms. Because if he can steal your time with God, he can rob you of your strength." In that moment, the weight didn't vanish, but it made sense. The fog wasn't failure. It was fire, a trial. And trials are only given to those meant to rise. And maybe, just maybe, you felt it too. The drowsiness, the drift, the shame that follows. But hear me, do not accept the lie that you are unworthy. Do not mistake fatigue for defeat. Your struggle is not weakness, it is warfare. And if you choose to stand, to adapt, to fight back in the smallest of ways, walking as you pray, singing when words fail, writing your cries when your voice is tired, then you are already winning battles no one can see. And the kingdom of hell trembles every time you rise. So now, I want you to lean in. This isn't just Eleazar's story, it's yours. And God hasn't called you to perfection, He's called you to persistence. He doesn't ask for polished prayers, He asks for your heart, even when it's heavy, especially when it's heavy. So when sleep comes, don't sit still. Move, sing, cry, write, but don't stop. Because on the other side of your resistance is a power that shakes eternity. And you, yes you, were born to unlock it. There's a moment in Scripture that echoes Eleazar's journey. In the darkest night of his life, Jesus went to Gethsemane and asked his closest friends for just one thing: stay awake and pray. And what did they do? They fell asleep 3 times. Not because they didn't love him, not because they didn't care, but because their flesh was weak, heavy under the weight of invisible war. And Jesus didn't curse them. He didn't walk away. He said, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak," not with condemnation, but with compassion. Because he knew the battle wasn't against them, it was inside them. We've been told that strength means never falling, but real strength is found in how many times you rise after you fall. And when you fall asleep in prayer, when your head drops mid-sentence and you wake up feeling like a failure, that's the moment the enemy whispers, "See, you're not spiritual enough. Give up." But God is watching that very moment with love. He sees a child trying to reach him, and he treasures it. Every broken prayer, every tired breath, every moment you try again, they don't disappear, they ascend, collected in golden bowls before his throne, incense from the weary who refuse to quit. And if the disciples failed Jesus in his darkest hour and were still entrusted with the foundations of the church, then what's your excuse to give up? Peter, who fell asleep, became a pillar. John, who dozed off, became the voice of revelation. These weren't men of flawless devotion. They were men of relentless return. They failed, but they came back. They slept, but they woke up. And so must you. This is your Gethsemane. This is your proving ground. And heaven isn't watching to see if you stumble. Heaven is watching to see if you stay down, or if you rise. The enemy has a favorite tactic. He doesn't always roar. Sometimes he whispers lullabies. He wants you quiet, numb, disengaged, because a praying believer is dangerous, but a silent one, harmless. So he lulls you with tiredness, busyness, distractions that seem innocent. He'll wait until you kneel, then bring the storm of sleep. And unless you understand what's happening, you'll think it's just you. But it's not just you. It's war. It's strategy. And if you feel sleepy every time you try to pray, that should tell you how important your prayer life really is. So what do? You fight back. Not with guilt, not with shame, but with fire. You shift your strategy. You pace your room. You speak the word. You sing in whispers. You declare his promises with every ounce of defiance in your bones. Because you're not here for comfort. You're here for conquest. You're here to build an altar that hell can't touch. You're here to become the kind of believer that demons recognize, and they don't fear the loudest voice. They fear the one who won't stop knocking. The prayers you whisper through gritted teeth and exhaustion carry more power than 1,000 rehearsed sermons. Heaven doesn't measure volume. It measures depth. God isn't impressed by eloquence. He's moved by perseverance. And every time you fight through the fog, something shifts. In you, around you, above you. Chains begin to loosen. Territory begins to break open. And you begin to transform from a doubter to a warrior. From a sleeper to a sentry. From a believer to a threat. So here's your moment. Decide. Will you be lulled back into sleep, into spiritual apathy? Or will you rise, again and again, until your altar is drenched in fire? This is not just encouragement. It's a charge. You're being enlisted into a war you were born to win. You are Eleazar. You are Peter. You are every tired saint who ever chose to stand again. And if you stand now, you won't just change your life. You'll change generations. You'll shake hell. And heaven will call you faithful. If you've ever believed your weakness disqualified you, let today rewrite that lie. You are not weak because you struggle. You are chosen because you fight. Every prayer whispered through exhaustion. Every moment you rise when it would be easier to quit. Heaven sees it. And heaven celebrates it. This is your altar. Keep it burning. Subscribe to this channel and follow Jesus with everything in you. Don't just watch. Wake up. Take back the secret place. Win the battle no one else sees. I'm Oliver, and I'm walking this journey with you. Imperfect, but burning with the same fire. You're not alone. You're part of a generation that won't give in to silence. I love you deeply. Stay strong, stay awake, and I'll see you in the next video.